Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Beyond the Frame webinar series. Today, we are going to talk to you about 6 ways to pump up your bottom line. And I've got some guests with me today. I'm going to introduce them first. Of course, we have our beautiful co-host, Miss Dottie San Martin.
Good afternoon, everybody.
And joining us today, we have Babs herself, straight off of Broadway. No, I'm joking. The Director of Member Benefits for BPAA, Miss Amy Arcuri. Amy, thank you for being with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Jay and Dottie. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Now, look, when it comes to pumping up your bottom line, one thing's for sure, nobody says no to that. Like, I don't know one person that says, I don't need any help with that. And in today's business environment, you know, it's difficult, even for the best of operators. So when you're driving revenue isn't as easy as it once used to be, we need to look at other areas that will help bring more dollars to the bottom line. Look, it's a pretty simple equation. It's either revenue or expenses. Those are the only 2 areas you can do. We're not going to touch the revenue side. We're going to talk today about expenses and how you can control them and get more money or bang for your buck, right? Pretty simple. We're going to give you 6 tips today. And why don't we start right out with the first thing that is probably the most obvious. Some of you may already be taking advantage of things like BPAA Smart Buy program, right? But are you fully utilizing the program to its capacity? Let's bring Miss Amy Arcuri in. Amy, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being our expert today. We really appreciate this. And I would like you to share with our audience what you do with the Smart Buy program. This is your baby.
Well, thank you, Jay. You're absolutely right. There's not much we can do about revenue. Certainly marketing, but this weird thing of recovery is going to take time. Kind of irritates me because it really is going to take intent on the other side of the equation. While your revenue is only 60%, 51, but whatever it is, 70%, it's not 100%. The only way that you can survive is to look at the other side of the equation, as Jay said. So I'm real focused on, let's not just sit and wait. Let's dive in, chase these pennies. Raindrops fill buckets for sure, and Smart Buy.
I love that statement.
Big raindrops. Smart Buy has 139 partners. And listen, these aren't partners where, oh, we'll list you in our cute little guide and we'll throw you on the website and give us some non-dues revenue every time somebody may or may not use you. They are actually 139 contracts that we manage that have terms, great contract pricing, and great rebates. It gets very overwhelming to keep up with all of them. They're all on BPA.com. Lucky today, I'm not going to go over even a portion of them, but I do want to talk about 2 areas in today's time that to make or break you, and sadly, they're 2 of the filthiest marketplaces out there. It's food and beverage and credit card processing. So I want to spend some time on our programs and just make some general comments about, if you're not on our programs, what to look for on the programs that you are on. So let's get right into even worse. The credit card processing market is this food market. And guys, it's bad. There's a lot of back end deals that happen in the food market and move the food. And I'm not talking about greasing somebody in a shady way. I'm talking about legit back end deals where there's bill backs and all sorts of things that go on based on the cases you're buying. So if you're not playing with a group and you're playing by yourself, you're really ripping yourself off, even in good times. So we rolled out Cisco 15 years ago. It's been 15 years. And there's 2 ways you can use the Cisco program. And I try and keep it simple. You can go all in with the contract, or you can just go a little in and get some rebates. And I know Dottie's going to spend some time on rebates later, and we can certainly talk about that world. But real quick, if you decide to go all in, you're going to sign a contract with Cisco. It's going to be the BPA contract, and it's going to tell you have audited pricing. What that means is Amy and BPA gets to go in there and see what Cisco's landed cost is. Landed cost is the lowest cost out there. It is what Cisco pays for product, not what's loaded into a laptop of a salesperson, not what, a DSM may see, but the actual cost that Cisco pays from a food supplier. We get to see that landed cost. We also get to double check that with some of our food suppliers. And and they always pass landed cost. So you start there, and then they apply a formula to every single thing you buy. And the formula is going to be based on your drop size, because what you need to know about food business is Sysco, US Foods, Benny Keith, whatever distributor, they don't sell food, they sell the movement of food. So depending on how much food you can get on their truck, you're going to save more. And note I didn't say the size of your center. Like, how much food can you get on a truck? So if you have some storage capabilities, then you're going to save more if you buy more in a truckload. That's how that goes. Under our contract, you get a prompt pay incentive. You're going to get a large drop incentive. The minimum order on this program is $350. Some people think it's much higher than that. I have a contract that says $350. So if you're struggling with that, please give me a call and we'll work that out for you. Right now during COVID, even that is waived. Nothing's off the table. Sysco will bring out $100 to you. And if your rep is saying no, they won't, you need to call me, because they will. That is our gentleman's agreement during COVID. So all in is the pricing. I call that the cake. And then you get these rebates on thousands and thousands of items. I call that the icing. Okay. You don't really just want the icing. You want the cake and the icing. But some people have a problem signing a 5-year contract. In normal times, I would understand that. It's a little harder to understand that right now. But if you want the pricing, you have to sign a contract. A little in is you have every right to these rebates, and by God, you should get them. Because if you don't, these food manufacturers to your food distributor in bill backs and back end deals. All right, so I have a relationship with Sysco for 15 years, as I said. And I'm going to tell you something I'm not real proud of, but only half of my centers is using Sysco when I know it's the best deal out there. And there's a million reasons for that. Sysco can be very egotistical in certain markets. Sysco may not want to jack with you if you're not a huge food and beverage operation. So there's a lot of pain points that I haven't been able to address through this relationship. When COVID came around in March, all bets off. And so we got a secondary supplier that will at least get you this little bit in, meaning the rebates. You guys are the second group I'm telling this to. We have partnered with US Foods very, very recently. We're in the testing stage now. We will roll this out large scale in November, but it's rebates only. So if centers are using US Foods for whatever reason, if they don't like Sysco, their pricing won't change. They'll have to negotiate their pricing on themselves, but they'll get all of these rebates. And US Foods has agreed to give 2% of all of their branded items, 2% back on a rebate. And by the way, most bowling centers buy more than half of their stuff is always Sysco brand or US Food brands or these exclusive brands the distributors brand themselves. They'll be able to get all of the tens of thousands of products, not tens of thousands, let me not exaggerate, 10,000 products that have rebates. We'll be able to do all that work for them. And all they have to do is sign a joiner. And that sounds like a contract, right? But it's not. It's a half a page. Hey, BPA can see my purchasing. I'm allowing BPAA to be my agent to, bill these suppliers, collect the rebates, and pay me. It's a cute little half-page joiner, and you're off to the races with US Foods. So I think these two distributors will help people compete in this crazy marketplace, even in normal times, never mind COVID times. And I will tell you, if you're navigating the food business on your own, you are very vulnerable right now. These people have lost tons of money with the restaurants shutting down, tons of money. They are going to make it up. So if you're navigating this on your own, you're vulnerable for them to make it up on you. So I urge you to intentionally look at what you're doing with buying food. And this is about the only time I'll say this. If it makes sense for you to go and deliver your own food, then go to Restaurant Depot, go to Sam's. I hate saying that because your time's so valuable, but again, the table right now. So if you feel you need to go to those stores, by all means, temporarily do that. All right. Just real quick about rebates. Again, I know Dottie's going to talk about rebates, but these rebates are not on jam, jelly, and cookies. These rebates are on huge company products that all bowling centers use, whether you're the biggest, fanciest bowling center restaurant or the smallest. We have chased these for 15 years, and I have great relationships with huge brands. So let's not poo-poo these rebates because they're healthy and the checks come 4 times a year and you don't have to really search for rebates. Chances are we already have a program for you. Okay, real quick on Pepsi, because I don't want to take all the time. If you're not on Pepsi and only 16% of you aren't, it's not about money because there is no better program than Pepsi. I wish they didn't deal in rebates. I wish Pepsi would give us an upfront pricing of $11 a gallon, but they don't. Both Coke and Pepsi do this rebate thing. So you pay $16.65 a gallon. This is a well-known price. It's disclosed every January to shareholders. There is no lower price. Everything's manipulated through rebates and you get $5. What you might not know about the Pepsi program are all these extra things you get. And I'm going to brag about one, which is our digital menu board service. We have a design person on staff, and she does multiple things for us, as we all do at BPAA, but she does really nice work. She'll spend a lot of time with you on the phone if you're a Pepsi Center, talk about what color scheme you want. She'll develop these menu boards so you can put this up on a screen and voila, have a great, nice looking menu. But also what she does is if she sees this, she's trained to understand something's not right here. You can't sell a cheeseburger this size, a third of a pound, for $3.75 and be profitable. You know, the food costs are way too high there. So then she'll kick them over to either me or John Morley, and we'll have that conversation of, do you want a price on the nines? Do you know that your BLT is the same price as a cheeseburger? Those types of things. So that's what our Pepsi centers get beyond the great pricing. And I know I'm going real fast, but I am here all day, every day, if anybody has any questions. We're going to jump off of the one area of focus, food and beverage, and I'm going to get into this little naughty marketplace called processing. You know, today hardly anybody's using cash. This is, you know, even before COVID, 60% of our tickets were plastic. We haven't evaluated it yet because we're trying to evaluate all kinds of things, but I suspect it's probably 80% right now. And I don't know that cash is ever going to be as big as it was before COVID, but my point is pay attention to this. Get involved, intentionally look at these contracts. But it's hard to look at the contracts and understand what you're doing if you don't understand about this business. People like to make it complex, and it's not. It's real simply put. There's this thing called interchange and this thing called plus. So this is called interchange plus, and this is the BPA program. What you need to know about interchange: you cannot change it. You cannot negotiate it. It's charged by the card brands. Everybody pays the same interchange, whether you're Walmart or your AJ Sports Club or your ABC Bowling. Everyone's going to pay the same amount of interchange. The problem is that interchange, there's hundreds of different possibilities based on the cards that are in your pocket. I have 3 myself, and I know some people have 6 and 7 different types of cards. So they all have a different level. The only thing you can change is this part here, the plus. That's what the processors, whether it's World's Pay or Heartland or First Data, the only thing you could change is that. And these people move your money around, right? So they take the ticket and they give some to the card brands, to the issuing bank. You get what's left over. They keep a little something, something for themselves. This is the only thing you can change, and you really need to know what they're keeping. On the BPA program, it's 3.5 cents. Expose this with whoever you're with, and I'll help you do that. It should never be a percentage of your ticket, because these guys are just moving money around, right? It's keystrokes. So if you make $10, it's the same amount of keystrokes, maybe 2 extra if you make $1,000. So the fact that they're adding a percentage on over in this column is wrong, but most of them do it, okay? If you don't understand anything that I just said, I need you to do every single month, even if you're on the BPA program, and it's know your effective rate, and it changes every month. So when you get your statement, first page, what your fees are, how much you process that month, and you'll take the fees and you'll divide it by the revenue you process that month, and you're going to get an effective rate. A good effective rate is going to be between 1.7 and 2.4%. Guys, it'll never be lower than 1.7. Just won't, because that's not what interchange allows for. It's not lower than 1.7 for Walmart. It will not be lower for you. So if a salesperson comes in and says, I can give you 1.5%, that doesn't pass the smell test. So dig a little deeper. This is my baby. I love this program because I've learned the hard way over the 19 years I've been here. I will look at anybody's contract and sniff it out. This is the best program out there. They now integrate with all of our major systems. Cubica was the first one they integrated with because Cubica stood up to the plate and made it happen. So don't let anybody tell you that WorldPay is the only one that integrates with your scoring. Not true. Maybe true with some POS systems that are not scoring, but our scoring systems are good. Real quick about this, I know I don't want to take all the time here, but this is very important, and it has to do with that interchange thing I just talked about on the last slide. There has been a major lawsuit out there. Anybody running a bowling center in the last 15 years, you've kind of heard this thing, this Visa MasterCard payment settlement for $7 billion, $5 billion, and there was a settlement, and it was all about interchange reform. MasterCard before 2019, this settlement, they were blamed for being in collusion with each other, and the department just got involved and said, you can't do that. And then lawyers got involved and said, ooh, let's sue you. And so this went on for the last 15 years. Now, Visa MasterCard never said that they did anything wrong, but they did settle for $5.5 billion. So they did something wrong. But this money's out there for everybody to collect their piece. It's actually $7 billion, but the big stores took themselves out of it. So $1.5 billion is set aside for them. But the $5.5 billion is for every merchant that processed credit cards between 2004 and 2019. Now that's a long time. There's money out there to be got, and you should get it. So my centers can file this on their own. They can go to the website, and it's called paymentsettlement.com. And you can file this on your own. I'm going to tell you, you will get very frustrated because at one point, I thought I could file this for all my members. Amy will do all the work and this, they can get 100%. We won't keep anything. It's impossible. So you can enroll with MCAG, which is who we partnered with. They are a settlement recovery service. And I'll tell you in a minute why we picked them. Or you could do nothing. But I'm going to tell you, if centers process between 2004 and 2019 and they do nothing, I got to say the big shame on you, because this is your money. If you don't do it, attorneys are going to get this money. And that's just not something you want to happen. So I urge you to check this out. Intentionally get involved here, because you will get a check. And these checks aren't going to be $8 checks. These checks are going to be a couple $1,000s. So MCAG, they retain 20% of your claim, and that sounds like a lot. But anybody who says they're going to do all this work for you for anything less doesn't pass the sniff test. This is a lot of work. We chose MCAG because of predatory companies that are out there, and they came up when the first settlement came out back in 2011, but was rejected for not enough reform. A lot of companies popped up real quick. We'll get your claim and we'll have 5%. You can have the rest. I just want to trust them, because a company that just pops out, they're just maybe not know what they're doing. We'll leave it at that. MCAG is the largest. They'll be around way after this settlement. That's all they do is class action lawsuits. They were around way before. I'm not saying that, geez, they're taking a piece of the action on something they weren't involved in, but they are the best recovery service out there. And they were very smart and partnered with all the major processors, even ones that are no longer in business or combined like Vantage and Arcuri did. They have all access to that data if you allow them to get it. So I'm urging you to sign up. Real easy to do. Go to bpa.com, click on this logo up here, the MCAG, and it will ask you, the hardest thing you'll have to find is your merchant ID numbers, okay? And even if you only have your current one, by God, just enter the current one. And it doesn't have to be with First Data, it can be with any processor. And I'll help you through this process if you want. It's very simple. The biggest way you can save money with SmartBuy is engage with me, engage with my staff, engage with any staff. I don't, at this point, I don't care if you use a SmartBuy program. I happen to believe in them because I negotiated them and I know they're the lowest price. But if there's a reason you can't, you hate Pepsi, you hate whatever it is, nothing is off the table in COVID. I am willing to dive into any contract and help you, because this is the way we're going to survive, is engage and intentionally engage. I'm going to shut up now and give it to Jane. I'm dealing with my ramble and jamble. It's really important stuff.
Listen, Amy, I was scrolling as fast as I could because you have so many valuable points in your presentation today, more than even I even knew about. So kudos to you. You are an extremely hard worker for our members in the BPAA, and non-member centers are also benefiting from your knowledge. So thank you so much for that input on there. And your presentation is on point. You didn't need to spend a lot of time on who the companies are, because that's irregardless. What you meant by this is it's available for lots of different levels, and I love that. So speaking of the different levels and the partially in with the rebates, Dottie's going to take over our next point, because she has a lot of personal history with rebates, and rebates are point number 2. So Dottie, why don't you take it away, babe?
Okay.
Well, before you do that, wait, I do want to say one thing. I didn't tell everybody who's watching. Look, if you have a question you want to ask Amy, Dottie, myself, or the group, feel free to type it in the chat. We're monitoring that and we'll pull it in. Back to you, Dottie, sorry.
Absolutely. Amy, I want to say, as Jay said, you offer so many different services, and I think right now the real reason that we wanted to have this particular webinar is that, people need to look at those services and realize that there's, a substantial amount of money to be had, and, not just the food and the Pepsi and things, but, the service that you offer to make sure that people are on track. I remember when I was in the center, I could even send you the invoices, and you would look at the invoices and say, things are too high here. That's extremely valuable, and more so now than it ever has been. But as Jay said, another area is the rebates, and the fact that you have negotiated so many rebates. One of the questions I have is that something that you have to register for, or how does somebody get on track to receive rebates?
Yeah, and good question. The rebates are only on 2 programs. It's on Pepsi, Cisco, and now soon to be US Food. So 3. They're only food and beverage. Why? Because don't like playing in rebates. You should get your best price off your invoice, because let's face it, rebates are them borrowing your money. I love Pepsi. I tell them this every time. At $5 times 1.5 million gallons, you're borrowing a lot of money. You're back twice a year, and it's interest free. But that's the way they play. That's the way Coke plays and their competitors. Same with food. So to sign up for those you have to be part of the Pepsi program, sign a contract, or the Cisco program. If you just want to be a little in and get the rebates, you just have to give me your Cisco account number. US Foods is your US Food account number. If you want the pricing and the rebates, then you're going to sign the Cisco contract.
Okay. And the other thing is, once you're on those programs, there's also rebates that you can find outside of that. So one of the ones I used to really enjoy, it was a little bit time consuming, but was food service rewards. And actually that was a program that I was introduced by my Cisco rep. And then I would have different brokers that the Cisco rep would bring in, and they would say, oh, and by the way, there's a rebate going on right now. And you start to put those on top of one another, and you've got some really nice money coming back in. But the other thing that rebates also can provide is, for example, food service rewards, you're able to just collect points, and then you're able to go shopping with those points. So that was a great way to have, something going on in a contest at the center, or the way I used them most often was to motivate and give back to the employees. Or perhaps, one of the programs was to get your pizza warmer for free. Well, it's those things that, when you're not having to take money out of your pocket, and you're getting that from a rebate of something that you were already going to be purchasing, and you already have a negotiated price, it is an absolute win-win situation, and there's a lot of them out there. So, if you're not taking advantage of some of these manufacturer rebates that are available, talk to your food service provider. If you're fortunate enough to have food brokers come in and do demos for you, talk to them, and Google. I mean, nowadays you can find anything by Googling it. So, go in and just start typing around, and you'll find that there's some very unique. It does take a little time to get on track with them, but, nowadays, if a little time is worth it to get something added to your bottom line. So.
It does sound like you can provide a lot of value to your center with rebates alone. Just, you know, if I'm not a member of anything and I'm just now learning about these rebates, like Dottie said, she would oftentimes fund her entire Christmas party with the rebate money that she'd saved over the year from just buying necessary things that she would do. And I will point out that rebates, like you said, Dottie, don't have to be entirely monetary. Maybe you're getting a pizza warmer. Maybe you're getting, you know, an iPad. There could be so many other things. And so cash is great, but merchandise is also equally valued to us because it saves our cash from having to buy it. So
you're exactly right. And if you, you know, especially nowadays, if you can do something to also give back and motivate your employees, that has a huge impact on your bottom line too, because the service that you're delivering, the experience that the customer's receiving is enhanced because the employees are happier, they're glad to be there, they feel very appreciated. And when you can do it with nothing out of your pocket, you know, that's the way to go.
Great, thanks, Dottie, for that. I'm going to move on to our next point here. I really think this is one of my favorite things to do because we don't often all think about this, but streamlining your menu offers at your facility is really important. The big dogs do it. And, you know, I read an article, our partner McCain's, they put out a really nice little 4-point article about streamlining. And I'm going to steal from them and share it with you because I'm not reinventing the wheel by any chance thing. You know, their 4 points that they make are number one, that you should cut back on a long list. If you have a very large menu, why should you cut back on that? I've been to bowling centers, by the way, where it's like 2 full pages of 8.5 by 14, and there's anything from breakfast to, and it's just, I'm like, how did they make all this food here? I mean, that's a lot of raw material that you need in various amounts and whatnot. So the other one thing that McCain's told us in this little article that they wrote that it didn't even dawn on me was that if you've got an extraordinarily large menu, it becomes very difficult to train people. Now, instead of teaching them how to make 9 major items, I got to teach them how to make 42 major items, right? And then what happens, and there's a cost associated with that training that we don't often consider because we think, well, they're working for us. Well, yeah, but there's a cost associated with that. So what happens when you have turnover? The cost gets reset and you have to pay it again for the next person to learn all that stuff. That's powerful right there. Now, we all know about turnover. We don't have to talk about that. So think about the size of your menu and what you're offering and make sure that it's the right size for your business. The other thing that they make a point of, point number 2, is buy pre-made items. Why buy pre-made? Well, inexpensive ingredients, they can drive up labor costs every time an item requires prep, right? So I'm just going to pick something out of the air like onions. Nobody likes to prep 10 pounds of onions and chop them, but they'll do it, right? Maybe buying pre-chopped onions is like $1 more a pound for you, but aren't you spending that much trying to get the staff to cut them? And then what about your consistency and your quality and your yield? Because some people, when they're cutting onions, they throw half the damn onion away, you know? So you have to weigh these things when you're looking at pre-made items. Will it make my staff more successful? Does it drive my costs up, or does it actually help keep my costs in line because I can be more efficient and deliver it quicker? So those are some things to consider there. Point number 3 with streamlining your menu is cross-utilization of your ingredients. So if you have Texas toast that you're making a patty melt on, what can you serve that Texas toast with? Well, can't you serve it with your chicken tenders and some gravy to dip? Can't you use it as a garnish for a salad? There's a lot of ways that you can carry items across multiple menu items and get more yield out of them and more use out of them. Therefore, you're going to buy more of it and maybe even get a better rebate. Who knows? So think about that. And then adding menu items does not have to cost money. And I know I just said we're going to streamline our menu, but once you've streamlined the products that you're buying, why don't you look at how you can use those products differently within your own menu? Because you may take the existing ingredients you have and come up with a brand new way to package them and dish them out. And if you're worried about that, start it as an appetizer, put it out as a starter, a smaller priced taster thing. People love that. They're not committed to eating, that as their entire meal. And if it goes well, you can transform it into maybe a menu offering. So those are 4 ways that you can kind of look at streamlining your menu. And if you want, you can go to the McCain's website and just type in there and you can read that article. It's rather short, but it's pretty powerful in my opinion.
Jay, and that also, it reduces your inventory that you have on hand as well.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point. I've got less items to carry, and I'm going to use
Absolutely.
more of those items, right?
And
So,
that certainly had a huge impact when centers had to start closing down and figuring out what to do with all that inventory. So, it comes into play.
right. And when you do streamline your menu, you probably should work with one of your partners if you can, like your Cisco rep or whatever food service provider you are using. The other thing is that you can use reporting within your system. I know in our Cubic AMF system, we have the what's hot, what's not report. And that's beautiful because you can run that as a time frame. So I can say, how many loaded chili cheese fries did I sell last month? Oh, I only sold 2. Well, why am I carrying chili? That's the only place that the chili goes on, are these loaded. I don't even sell chili on anything else. So I make a decision. Do I carry more items that have the chili component with it? Or do I say, I don't need the chili and I'm going to make some other kind of loaded fries? There's a different way to look at it each time. You got to do what's right for your business, but you do need to think about it. So I'm going to ask you this, Amy, off the cuff. What do you think an average proprietor might save as a percentage wise off their food costs by doing some just random but mediocre streamlining?
So anybody who knows me, I don't like to do averages or guesses because, oh my God, it ranges everywhere.
It does. I would assume it ranges, yeah.
But I will give you some facts. The average, listen, I got a lot of data flowing through here. I have 1,500 centers using Cisco. Lots of people sending me invoices too. So we have found over the last 15 years today, I mean, the number goes up, but today, the average cost, if you take every single thing you bought in a year, the average case cost is $40. 39 if you're on a program. If you're on street, it could be 47, but if you're on a good program, it's $40. So you got to look at your inventory, like Dottie said, how many $40 do I have in here for the menu? Because especially in today's time, you don't want to waste even a half a case where it goes bad or freezer burnt. That's $20. But I have a lot of people that say, well, but my Thursday night men's league, they insist on, tater tots with this specific. Stop it, because they're not worth $40 every week. So when you think about your cases are $40 on average. Now listen, paper's higher, cheese sticks higher, French fries are lower, but on average, I like to think of it that way. So if you're able to get rid of 25% of your cases, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot.
And in today's, so that's good practice anywhere. Everyone knows that. But when times are good and your pockets are full, that's a pain in the butt to do. But you got to intentionally do it right now because it's going to save your life. That's the truth. Don't even have food and beverage if you're not willing to look at your menu. And there's so many resources because during the downtime where nobody was selling anything, they still had to keep a job. So they came back with all these tools and articles, and they're all beautiful. Cisco has one called Snapback. It's on our website. McCain's is great too. Schwann's. They all have different perspectives, and it's also important to read, and they make them in quick reads. So just a really important way to, and high profit items too, right? So scale back, but sell pizza because it's 25% cost of goods, not 30. Sell a burger, even though it's higher, because people want a burger.
Right.
It goes hand in hand with bowling.
Yeah. You may not want to get the pulled pork out of here for a minute, that sort of thing. So it's a great subject brought up.
Good. Thank you for that. Point number 4, Dottie, and point number 4 and 5 kind of go hand in hand. So I'm going to let Dottie take over from here. She's going to talk about the 2 things, cross-training your employees and evaluating and refining your work schedules. Go for it, Dottie.
Absolutely. One of the biggest expenses is payroll. And so, especially right now with being able to we're modifying our hours of operation and to be able to really look at your schedule and evaluate, do I really need that person until close, or can I do without? And in doing so, it becomes necessary in some cases to cross-train your employees so that if you have a front counter person that is scheduled to work until close and you have decided to let your lane attendant go, then that front counter could possibly be cross-trained to do another job. And this goes on in many departments in the bowling center. But now is the time where you should evaluate, if I had, and even with the fact that, COVID is a real thing and people are getting some, symptoms and they're having to self-quarantine, and all of a sudden your schedule is out the window.
Falling apart.
Yeah, you've got somebody that
there's
has
two people alive that can work. Both of you are working.
So when you have that opportunity and you can cross-train employees, that becomes valuable, because to start an employee out from scratch, it's very time consuming. It's very frustrating. And when you have somebody you can pull from another department to pull up the slack, especially like I said, right now, with you never know what the status of your employees is going to be tomorrow. And I've heard some very creative ways that people have been making sure that they have planned ahead, so that if they do have, someone test positive, that they already have a plan in place and they can pick up the ball and run with it right away. So, Amy, is this something that BPAA can assist centers with?
Sure. Well, first of all, we always say start with the right people, because organically it happens, but that's in a utopia world.
Right.
We have Bowling University that has over 60 online training courses, where in many states, because the state association picks up the cost for that, it's all free. So in downtime, these employees should be, their 30-minute courses should be learning a little bit about food safety and a little bit about how to turn on a lane, all of these things. So Bowling University is what we count on to train. We do hope every center takes advantage of it. And just a great plethora. I think I said 60. They're being redone all the time. They're not old. They're not stagnant. They're being overseen by Bart Berger, who is like the industry expert in adult education. Better, in my opinion, than Bart on that. And he oversees that along with Kelly Bednar and just a whole team. So I would urge people to take a look at online on-demand training and get their staff involved in that.
For sure.
Great.
And from a system standpoint, a Cubica AMF standpoint, this is also a great opportunity for you to polish up your employees, or if you do have a new wave of people coming on board, we offer just a variety of training programs that can help you get up to speed, be it online or remote or even in-person training. So, as you said, now is the perfect opportunity to learn while customers aren't coming in the same volume as they have in the past. And all around, that's going to play into the experience that you offer the customer. And so, take advantage of that downtime and make it useful with cross-training your employees, and just really, taking the knowledge that they have up a notch. Even if they are fully trained, refine their customer service skills, or teach them something that's going to help them, not just in what they're doing now, but later on as well.
And we have compliance things. A lot of states are, mandating not just the COVID training, but sexual harassment and all sorts of things. It's there. So I urge centers to take a look at that, because some of these things you have to train on just because the state mandates it.
Yeah, that's true. You do have to look at what you have to do versus what you'd like to do, and get those have tos on. But while you're doing the have tos, why not include some of these other things? Because it doesn't make any sense. You're already in the portal. You're already committing time to it. It's nominal the amount of extra time you'd spend to learn one or two more new skills or refine that. So I agree. It's a great point.
Yeah.
Dottie, so you've talked about cross-training your employees and refining your work schedules. Those are
Absolutely.
two really important things, different in nature, but they really come together, right? And once you've cross-trained that employee, well, now maybe I can use them in a better look. And when I said before, I got 2 employees left that are alive, I meant they're ready and able to work. I didn't mean they were actually dead, but you know what I meant by that. Alive as in available. So I didn't want anybody to take offense to that. It wasn't my thing. We do have a question out here. Kim says, is there a site that shows basic job descriptions for cross-training? That's a good question, Kim.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Go ahead. Cubica may have something too, but bpa.com is our site. You have to log in, because it's really for members, these job descriptions. But if you log into the tab, I think it's called My BPAA, and you'll log in with your member number. If you don't have it, call me. You can navigate to job descriptions, and they're short, distinct, and very to the point. So yes.
Beautiful. Cassandra says, I've been trying to find solid Cubica training videos for myself, being new, and in my trying to write a training program. I have all of the Bowling U videos included already. Kim, I'm writing job descriptions now. I can share several with you. I wish I would have known that about that too. So that's nice. Thank you, Cassandra, for wanting to reach out to Kim and share with her. And, you know, when it comes to Cubica AMF training, that could be a wide swath there. So I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. If you're talking about Conqueror training and using your system, we certainly can help with that. We have a full Natasha Kipper is the director of training or the manager of training, and she could certainly help you with that. We do have some online courses that are coming out also for our specific products. So you can look for that. And Cassandra, if you have specific questions, please reach out to myself, Dottie, or Natasha, or info@Cubica AMF. We'll take care of you with that.
And Jay, a good place for Cassandra to maybe glance to see if it's what she's looking for is the customer portal.
Yeah.
Take a look and see what's there. And then if that's not what you're looking for, certainly reach out and we can lead you in the right direction.
For sure. The customer portal has a lot of past webinars that we've done on Conqueror, you know, whether it's maybe setting up your price keys or whatever there's a lot of topics out there. So look in the customer portal, for sure, start there. And you might find what you're looking for right away. If not, we'll be glad to help you. Well, that was 5 points, and I'm going to take the last one because I really love this one. I say there's a room to grow your profits by renegotiating your contracts and your services, right? What does that really mean? Well, do I have to wait until the contract is up for renewal to renegotiate it? Maybe, maybe not. What are some of the tactics, Amy, that you use when you renegotiate contracts? Because you're the expert at it. So give our viewers, like, just give them what do they want to pay attention to?
Yeah, so favorite thing in the world to do is negotiate. But I'm going to give you 3 tips. Research, research, research.
Perfect.
You have to research your product. You've got to know more than the salesperson, and you can't get your information from a salesperson. So
right.
A lot of research. You have one good thing, you know, you've got an industry person that will dig in with you and understand, but if you don't know what the product is worth, you can't even start negotiating because then you're at the mercy of the salesperson to tell you what it's worth. And so know the high end and the low end. And how do you know that? You start asking, you network, you do things like this, and you chat, and you jump on Zooms, or you call your friends and you find out what's the high, what's the low. And then you really got to be real with yourself. Where do you fit in that? Because not everybody's going to get the lowest price.
Right.
You have to know what the appetite of the salesperson is for you, because they will walk away if you demand. And honestly, my advice to anybody negotiating with anybody, don't be a jerk, right? I have this reputation where she's a real bulldog. I'm not. Because I come armed with information, but there's this very fine line between being a jerk and a good negotiator. You will lose every time if you go in here and say, this is what I want, and just be mean about it. You don't want a partner or a vendor to be afraid of you. So there's fear, and then there's respect. And you get respect by research, research, research. That's what I would say. I never start talking about a product unless I know everything about it.
Beautiful. That's a good point. You know, one of the things I often talk about renegotiating is our stupid cell phone contracts or cable, right? And so for me, when I get ready to call up, I've got in my hand the mailers, or, you know, I've written down the offers that have come across the TV for the competitor. And I say to the company, look, you're charging me $93 a month for my phone, and it includes this. I can go to this company for $35 a month and get the same service. Slightly less coverage, but let's meet somewhere. And like you said, I'm not as demanding, but I am armed with information. And that often, well, not often, it always helps, because you're not pulling this number out of your butt thinking like, I'm just going to make this number up and they're going to believe me. They know what the ads are out there. They know what their competitors are offering, and they know they're really good at sensing whether you're going to jump ship or you're just wanting to complain. So don't be afraid to renegotiate those contracts and services. And no, you do not have to wait until your term is up. It's a simple phone call to have a conversation with your rep, because the worst thing they can say is, no, I'm sorry, we can't now. But that gives you more ammo for when it does come time for renewal, right? Okay, well, do we have any other questions out there? Start typing them now, get them into us. I want to kind of review the takeaways that I've written down so far today from our discussion. because we've had a lot of really good points. I had to start a whole new page because I didn't have room on my little page to type them all. So today's takeaways, and if I'm missing any of these takeaways, ladies, I want you to jump in, okay? Number one, the Smart Buy program has two main ways to use this. You can be all in, or you can be a little in. And are you in the best program for you? If you're not, call Amy up, talk with her. She's not gonna misadvise you. You know, she's not gonna sell you something you don't need. Number two, is your effective rate on your credit cards between 1.7 and 2.4%? If not, call Amy up. If you need that little formula on how to calculate it, drop her an email. She'll tell you how to do it again. But that's something you really should not ignore. You brought such a valid point to that. When they put the percentage on the other side of that equation, it's sneaky, and it's so annoying when you're not paying attention, you realize it, and now you look back and you go, I'm getting charged that percentage. No, you fix that. So. Have you filed for your settlement on paymentsettlement.com yet from 2004 to 2019 for these credit cards? If you've not done that yet, right now, I'm pointing at you right there, you take a pen and paper and write down paymentsettlement.com. And when we're done this, you go there and you look at it and you see what's involved in that.
Let me interrupt, BPA.com, because you don't want to file this on your own. You can.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
BPA.com will get you to our site.
To your site. Yes.
Very good. But Jay, you're absolutely right. This is their money.
It's free money. It's free money.
It's their money. Right.
Yeah. Okay, rebates. They might be merchandise. They might be cash. The point is they're good. It's a net gain of value to you and your customers when you take advantage of them. And then how many cases of product are you willing to waste at $40 a pop every month? That's another question you need to ask yourself. You know, if the average cost is $40 a case and you're carrying these items that you sell 10 of in a 6-month period, girl, you need to refigure that, because you're just throwing money out the door, right? We don't need that. You don't need that. We don't need that. Your customers don't need that. They're going to be happier with fresh product that you can move quicker. Another point, BPAA's Bowling University, online training. It all can be free, right? That's something, if you're not a member, or you are a member and you haven't taken advantage of that, why not? Do you know everything? Because that's great if you do, but I bet you're going to find some things on there that you're going to find great value in. So please check that out too. Any other points that we didn't, takeaways? I guess I didn't write a takeaway for renegotiating contracts. It's never a bad time to renegotiate. That's my takeaway there. Go for it.
Absolutely, and learn from Amy. I mean, she has always been such a valuable resource. Hey, I'm not quite sure if this is a good thing or a bad thing. She is always willing to help, and that's a great resource.
Look at all the time she spent with us today. She didn't have to do this, but she did, because she is here for all of you, right? Amy at BPAA.com, that's her email. This recording, Teresa, this recording will be put up on the Beyond the Frame page on Facebook, but it will also live on YouTube. So on the Cubica AMF YouTube channel, when you go there, you're going to see that we've got, interviews, we've got webinars listed separately, Seeds of Success, some of the things that we do. But yeah, it'll be available in multiple places, and you'll be able to see that as soon as probably tomorrow. I'm putting the pressure on Dottie to upload it.
It'll be there.
All right. Are there any other questions for my guests here today? If not, I will start to talk a little bit about our resources that we have available to you from Cubica AMF on our side. Don't forget, of course, BPAA has a very large library of resources for you. On our side, we've got the cubicaamf.com/support page. And from there, you can get to things like the upcoming webinars, the blog. Don't forget about Best Extras blog. If you're not a member, you can request to be a member. If you haven't opened yet, if you're one of those states, or for whatever particular reason you haven't opened, and you've got our products in your center from a scoring and management perspective, give tech support a call before you open and schedule that walkthrough. It's a free service from them. We want you to open as successfully as possible, and they're going to make sure that they can do everything in their power to get you there. Facebook group Beyond the Frame. Many of you are our regular guests here in the webinars. I know you're a part of the Beyond the Frame group. If you're not, just go to facebook.com and look up Beyond the Frame and ask to be a member. We'll include you right in. But our guest for tomorrow's episode of Beyond the Frame is so fun. It's Senior Executive Chef and Senior Director of Culinary Development, Neil Doherty from Cisco. He's going to be here and he's going to be talking about what you can do to help your business snap back and provide new profit opportunities. Dottie's going to be interviewing him tomorrow.
Yes, I'm very excited.
I'm just mad because there's no tasting. Like, I want to taste the stuff. But
Well, you never know.
also, if you have not submitted a question for us or a conundrum or a problem in your business to the 15-minute fix, we're still taking, customers, shall we say, we're still taking applicants to apply for some, help. It's a free service that Dottie and I will do for you, and we'll do it in a short little video that we'll post so that your concern is probably shared by other people in the industry. So if we can help solve a problem that you're having, you're also going to help your fellow operators with that. So please consider dropping us a line with any kind of problem or situation you'd like help with. And then our next webinar like this one will be 11/11. So you can't forget that date, 11/11. Make a wish, everybody, when it comes. And we are going to talk about then what you should be doing now to have a fantastic Q1 in 2021, because there are some things as an operator, especially of a bowling environment, you probably should be attacking right now. Oh, well, okay, we'll stay a month from now. We'll give you a little bit of a break there. All right, we don't see, how do I register for that Facebook page? Cassandra, just go to facebook.com. In the search bar at the top, Beyond the Frame, you'll see this logo. I never know, oh, it's over here. You'll see this logo. You'll see this logo pop up, and that's the right page. And
the one tomorrow is, if you're a member of Beyond the Frame, we go live at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So just be there, be ready to log in straight up 3 o'clock, and we'll get going.
And if for
see
some
you
reason
there, Cassandra.
Yeah, Cassandra, we'll see you there. But if you can't log in then, you can come back later in the afternoon and go scroll up. You'll see the live video and you can rewatch it. So that's that. I would like to sincerely thank our guest today, Amy Arcuri from BPAA. She is amazing. I'm going to start calling you Amazing Amy. I appreciate your time, Amy. I really appreciate your passion and your work that you've done for the past 20 years to get your program to be so fantastic. It's such a value to our members. And if you're not a member of BPAA, look what you're missing, right? So you might want to look at that, okay?
Jay, it's almost like, Amy takes so much pride in the centers. And when you've got her on your side, it's like you have, just a great employee, right?
Yeah.
That's how I felt in the center.
These members are such a joy to work for. I don't want to get emotional. I miss everybody. I miss seeing them. Thank you for letting me be part of this. This is the only way I can connect. I miss you guys.
It is our pleasure. Trust me, it's our pleasure. Okay, thank you to all of our guests who joined us live today. Thank you to everybody who watches us on the replay. Whenever you do, we appreciate it. If you have any questions for Dottie, myself, or Amy, just drop us a line. Amy at BPAA. Dottie and I, you can reach us at info@cubicaamf.com or VMM. And there's so many ways. We put the email address up there a million times. It's in the comments here too. So if you want to get touch base with us, we'd love to hear from you. All right, until our next webinar, we hope that you guys stay safe. We thank you for being a part of our group and to help making bowling amazing across the planet for everybody, right? We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.